Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the best of them all? Well, give me an idea. Welcome to Tech Down Over, special edition. We're talking mirrorless cameras. Full frame, micro four thirds. Should be interesting. I'm Rick Zanotti. I'm joined by Harold Muliati today, and here we go. And we are back. We did a test the other day to compare the Canon EOS R, their brand new full-frame mirrorless, which we own, to the Panasonic G9, micro four thirds, maybe a tad larger, mirrorless camera. Both have great ergonomics holding them in your hand. We don't have the battery grip yet for the G9, for the EOS 9, but EOS R, but we're waiting for it. And this is the Panasonic G9 with the battery grip. This camera feels just really good in the hand. What do you think, Harold?
Yeah, I think that one has pretty exceptional ergonomics.
Which do you like better? It's close. I mean, we don't have the battery grip on the Canon, so we're not sure yet, but
yeah,
I don't know. That G9 does feel pretty darn good.
They both feel pretty good in the hand, I think. It's like you said, it's a little bit hard to tell without the battery grip, since we're using battery grip on the G9.
Without the battery grip, the EOS R is definitely lighter than the G9 with the battery grip. I'm not sure. I think with the battery grip, the EOS R will probably be a little bit heavier. We got both of these cameras from Sammy's Camera in Los Angeles on Fairfax. Larry Leyretana, Leyretana. Got it. Larry Leyretana. He's our sales rep. We've been working with him for 18 years. He's a great guy. He always gets us great equipment, and they're just a good one. Actually, did we have them on a website? Let's see if we can pick up Sammy's. It's SAMIS, Sammy'sCamera.com.
Yeah, let me bring them up and show their
They really do a good show.
website.
I think they've got about 7 stores in the LA area, in and about. They're up in Santa Barbara. They're down in Orange County. Great place. They're also on the web.
Which is right here.
There we go. So that is the Sammy's Camera website. They do rentals. They do pretty much anything you need in terms of photo, video, lighting. Really good company. Like I said, we've been working with them for 18 years. They've been great. Just a good company to work with. They're really decent. Okay. Moving along, Harold yesterday and his sister, Sarah, they did some test shots and a little bit of test videos to see which one of these cameras had a better look. And I think both Harold and I were surprised at the results of both of these. Here you have a full frame digital mirrorless camera. That's a big sensor. This is the 5D Mark IV sensor. It's a big sensor, 30 megapixels in this case. The Mark IV was 36. I wish I had gone to 36 on this, but they stayed at 30. And then you have the G9, an absolutely lovely camera. We did a review of this earlier in the year when we went to Hawaii, and we did some stuff in-house also with this one. The G9 is frankly incredible. It's a great camera. It's very similar to the GH5 from Panasonic. Probably not as full-featured in the video way, but that doesn't bother us because we don't do cinema, quote-unquote, video. But this is a great camera. This is limited to 30 minutes of video. In fact, I'm not even sure if the Canon is limited to 30 also.
It is, yeah.
It is. That's what I thought. So, 2 stupid things. But other than that, they're really great cameras. And by the way, limiting a camera to 30 minutes, unless you're doing it for heat, which you shouldn't be, is really dumb. Why cater to Europe? Because they have some stupid taxation system. And it unfortunately affects a lot of cameras. Why Panasonic did that to this one, I think, was to cripple it from being as good a video camera as the GH5.
Yeah, because for the GH5, they do actually have two versions. They have a Europe and a non-Europe one.
Yep.
We have the non-Europe one, which lets us take unlimited video on our GH5.
Which is great. See, ideally, they should call this a camcorder, in which case, then you have no limit. And this one, 30 minutes, I don't know if it's for heat, or, again, they're competing against the 5D Mark IV. Canon has a habit of competing with themselves very unsuccessfully. I think they just irritate everybody doing that. I
do suspect heat is a factor there because there are other decisions that they made on this camera which are probably related to heat. Like there's the single card slot thing that people talk about, which we actually did do a video on earlier. We'll link to that below. And I think that may have been related to heat, and I think the 4K cropping is probably processing power, but it could also be related to heat as well.
Yeah, so before we start, one thing. The Canon EOS R does not give you full frame 4K video. No, no, no. You get basically the equivalent of this, the Micro Four Thirds size frame. So what you do is they crop into the center of the sensor, so you're really getting about a Micro Four Thirds view of this great sensor. So you're not getting a full 4K, a full frame view. And the crop is pretty large. It's a 1.8 crop. Now this is also having a crop. This has a 2.0 crop, but you don't really notice it as much on the Micro Four Thirds ones, really at all. You just don't notice it. Whenever you put a lens on it, like we have this 15 millimeter.
Yeah.
We have the 15 millimeter, which is equivalent to about a 30 millimeter. On this one, we shot with a 35 millimeter. So it's a little bit larger, but we tried to get them as close as we could picture-wise, and we did. It actually looked pretty similar. And the Canon EOS lens, the 35 millimeter, is a US-M lens, so it's an ultrasonic motor, and it's an f2.0. This one is non-motorized. Well, I shouldn't say it has a motor in there, but I don't know what they're actually doing. But this one is a, well, actually, the focus motor on this, I'm not sure what it is, but it's the 15 millimeter Leica Panasonic lens, f1.4.
F1.7.
This is f1.7.
The semi-lux lens,
Yep. Yep, this is an f1.7, sorry. So just a tad brighter or faster than the Canon, but you'll see that because of the full frame sensor, they kind of even out, because that one, the Canon's a little brighter than this one, but you can get there pretty easy with a couple of settings. So anyway, Harold, do you want to talk about what you did?
Yeah, so what we did was we set up similar shots with both cameras. We did do two things to kind of level the playing field because, as you might know, the EOS R does not have IBIS. The G9 has excellent IBIS, so we put them on a tripod. But also, the G9 on photos, its sensor's a little bit darker, so we opened it up a third stop more. So we have the G9 was shooting photos at f1.7, whereas the EOS R was shooting at f2.0.
Now, we did think at one moment of putting the EOS on top of the G9, and that would stabilize it, but we decided that'd be risky.
And so, should we go through
Sure.
We'll go through the EOS R photos, and after that, we'll show the same shots taken on the G9, and you'll see the difference. Or in some cases, the lack of difference. So here we just have Sarah kind of smiling at the camera. There's a slight angle there. She's got a little bit of shadowing around the left side of the face, and we can see how it's catching both the light areas here on her face on the right side and the darker areas down below and on the left side of her face. We did a few variations.
Can you zoom in on these?
Yes. So let's zoom in actually right in here. So here's a pretty close zoom on this. Wait, it's autoplaying, but so this is her smiling, and we've zoomed in nice and close. This one actually came out a little bit soft.
This is the Canon?
Yeah, this is the EOS R. We were using, I think, face tracking single focus for both cameras on these photos. And let's go to the next one. Maybe that one's slightly less soft on the focus. Let's see.
You want to unzoom it, or?
Yeah, let's see. So this one, that's how it looks full size. The next variation we did some where she wasn't wearing her glasses, as that kind of introduces slightly different look because there's some reflection off the glasses, and also the glasses, cause some optical distortion. So this is just to show us something a little bit different here.
Now you notice there's quite a bit of detail around the eyes, the shadowing. And one thing to note in both cameras, and you'll see that shortly, the color tones are almost the same. Meaning the G9 has a color science very, very close to Canon.
They did come out quite similar, yeah. As you could also see in our Hawaii video, our Hawaii photos, it comes up with G9 catches really rich color tones.
And it's different from the GH5 and the GH5S. So the G9, they did something different, and we suspect that the Panasonic S1 and SR1, their future full-frame mirrorless, are using a new color science which we currently see in the G9. A lot of people went to Photokina, said that what Panasonic showed of the S1 and S1R full-frame mirrorless was basically a slightly larger G9 body. So that's what you can expect. Okay, so here we're on which one?
So now she's looking straight at the camera, and this is with glasses
and
on.
you're looking through glasses. You can see the eyes pretty clearly.
Mm-hmm.
The white in the eye, the eyelashes. It's pretty clear.
And the next ones will be this same shot, but without glasses. Let's go to that.
And we're still on Canon?
We're on the EOS R still, yes.
Okay.
So this is without glasses. And let's go to the final one. Well, actually, no, the final shot will be a side shot, which will be after this, where we actually change the focus mode to point focus, and then we focused on one of her eyes from the side. So we'll go to that now.
And you can't see individual eyelashes. Pretty good detail on the eyelashes.
Yeah, pretty good detail throughout, both on the brighter parts of the face, and also you can even see it in the hair, even though she has black hair. So that's pretty good here. And now we'll move on to the G9 photos. So again, this is just the.
Now notice one thing. We just switched to the G9. I would say the G9 a tad I mean, we're talking a very small tad brighter.
That could
be the lens.
That could be because we stopped it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
1.7 versus 2.
We stopped it
but
up
also, look at
third.
This. Can you switch to my shot real quick?
Yeah, let's see.
Now, this is something interesting. If you look at both of these, look at the size of the G9 lens. It's teeny. Look at the size of the 35 millimeter. So these are equivalent lenses, just about. What a huge difference. This gathers much more light than this one. And yet, look at the results. They're pretty darn similar. And by the way, we are not shooting in the advanced mode on the G9 where it takes, I think, 6 or 7 pictures and makes one out of them, which is 85 megapixels big. So we're not doing that right now.
We should do a test of
Yes.
that sometime because
Well, against your camera, the 5DSR.
Oh yeah, that is a good idea. Well, I think the G9 on pixel shift mode will actually get a higher resolution. I think it gets like 80 megapixels or
Yeah,
something.
about 80 or 85.
Something like that.
Mhm. It's pretty amazing. But again, if you zoom in here, if you compare it to the Canon, I'd say Canon is a tad sharper.
Really? I mean, I was
But
actually
we're talking minor.
I was actually thinking this one looks sharper.
That you think
to
it looks
me,
sharper?
yeah.
Okay.
Which either way, it's pretty impressive.
They're both pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And if you saw these next to each other, you'd probably say they look the same.
They're similar. The colors are different, but
tad
they're
different.
close.
But if you look at her blouse, which was pinkish, it was not quite pink. They look almost the same. So let's go on to some of the other shots.
All right. So let's see. This is her without glasses. Let's zoom in there.
Pretty good detail again.
Yeah.
Now we really didn't photo process these either.
No, we didn't. Yeah, and the shutter speed that we took these at was 1/100th of a second, and
For
then,
both?
Yeah, for both of them, and we had them at ISO 250 on both cameras for these photos.
That's a pretty good shot. And again, the detail is really almost the same.
See, so this is front shot without glasses. So far, I think we're getting the point across that these get similar quality in stills, even though you've got a full frame on the one hand
Versus
on
a
the
little-
ESR
Yep, micro four thirds.
versus micro four thirds. Now the image resolution is different on these. You have the on the G9, you've got 20.2, I think, and then I think the EOS R is 30.3 megapixels. So depending on what you're doing with them, you might want higher pixel resolutions. But honestly, if you're looking for something with a really high pixel resolution, then the EOS R might not be the way to go in the first place anyway, because it's 30.3 is not huge for a full frame.
Well, no, it's okay, because there's a lot of full frames that are only 24 megapixels.
That is true.
And they still have great pictures. I think the EOS is a good camera, picture-wise. I'm just surprised. In this case, the EOS is the one to beat, not the Panasonic. But the Panasonic is real close to beating it, which is, I'm not sure it beat it, but it's awfully, awfully close.
Well, it is awfully close in photos, but next we're going to go through the videos, and there's a pretty striking difference here. Which do you think we should go through first, the EOS R or the G9?
Let's go through the G9.
So we took both 1080p and 4K videos with both of these cameras, and let's go through the G9 1080p
G9.
first, which
Hi, I'm Sarah Muliadi, and I do social media management and marketing here at Relate Corporation. I also coordinate guest scheduling for our shows on RelateCasts.
and she'll turn to the side, and now she's gonna come back around.
So we're testing focus there. Both cameras did really well on the focus part.
And we are going to play the G9's 4K video, which I am telling you because it actually
Hi,
won't be
I'm
obvious.
Sarah Muliadi, and I do social media management and marketing here at Relate Corporation. I also coordinate guest scheduling for our shows on RELATECASTS.
You're right. There's really no difference between them.
Yeah, essentially interchangeable except for the resolution.
Now that's where Panasonic is like a marvel the way they did that.
And I think this is also something that's a bit more feasible to do when you have a smaller sensor like that, because you don't have to reduce the size as much to get to 4K or 1080p. Let's go to the EOS R's 1080. It's actually not too far off from this.
And
Hi,
we're using
I'm
still
Sarah
the 35
Moriarty,
millimeter here.
and I do social media
Yeah, this is
management
with the
and marketing here
35.
at Relate Corporation.
Now, just so
I
you
also
know,
coordinate
we
guest
wouldn't
scheduling
use
for
the
our
35
shows on
millimeter
RELATECASTS.
probably in real life. We would go with probably a wider lens, like a 10 to 18 millimeter, because you'll see.
So that was the 1080, and let's go to the EOS R's 4K on the same lens.
Hi, I'm Sarah Muliati, and I do
And yes,
social
she
media
did jump right
management
in
and
front of the
marketing
camera.
here at Relate
Not.
Corporation. I also coordinate guest scheduling for our shows on RELATECAST.
And as you can see, that's the crop factor that everyone's talking about.
About 1.8 crop, so 1.8 times the lens. It's pretty big.
It's a big crop. Let me just, for effect, I'll just go straight back to the 1080 from the EOS R. So this is the 1080, and then let's go back to the 4K. It's a big difference. It's not something where you could, in the middle of a shoot or something, decide, hey, I'm going to switch to 4K or I'm going to switch to 1080 and use the same lens. It's going to be a big difference. So what we did after this was, on the EOS R, we took another 4K video using a different lens, the 10 to 18. Is that a Canon? I don't recall.
It is a Canon.
Yeah, and so here it is.
But that's
Hi,
a slow
I'm Sarah
lens. But look,
Muliati, and
now
I
it's
do
looking
social...
more like the Panasonic.
Yeah, well,
Now,
it's,
this will only work with EFS lenses.
yeah, I believe there's a smaller.
Yeah.
We are using the adapter for the EOS R that lets you use either EF lenses or EFS lenses, and I mean it's a pretty impressive thing. It's the same adapter that you basically just put either an EF or an EFS lens. There's no
Yeah.
extra fiddling required.
Now, keep in mind that the Canon full frames don't really take EFS lenses. With the adapter, they do. So, but that's only for
That's
the
only
mirrorless.
that's only for their R.
Mhm.
So on the one hand, it's cool. On the other hand, it kind of makes me think, hey, so they really could have let people use their
Mhm.
EFS lenses
Yep.
for their full frames all these
They
years.
could have, but they didn't. These are little canonicities, as we call them. And of course now they're caught. Now they've admitted it by what they can do, because there were no adapters, I think, from EFS to EF. So it's interesting. But which one did you like better, Harold?
Camera-wise, I mean,
Yeah. If you
I
had to
think-
go out and buy one right now, which one would you buy?
honestly, I think out of these two, I think I'm a little biased just because we've been using the G9 longer, so
Yeah.
it seems right. We already know that it performs really well both in stills and video, so I think it would be the G9. I don't see there being much of an advantage on the EOS R's side. And in video, I think the difference is clear. I mean, I can think of plenty of situations where in a shoot you might want to, sometimes you might switch between 1080 and 4K and need to kind of intercut footage from each. And obviously, if you're going to be dealing with this huge crop, you can't really do that with the EOS R.
No, and I agree. I love Canon. I always have. I've owned Canon. I know Harold owns a 5DSR. That's a medium format camera, basically. And Canons have been good, and their color science is excellent. And yet, I have to admit, I'll agree with Harold that the G9, I wouldn't agree if it was a GH5, even though the GH5 is very good at other things. I don't think it's as good at photos as it is as, let's say, the EOS R. But it's not far either. But the G9 in video and photos is really exemplary. It's pretty amazing. this is the reason we sold our Sony line. We had some Sony cameras, 3 of them, and after testing the G9, we got rid of them. I thought, this cost $16.99. The A9 Sony cost us $4,200. This shot better pictures than the A9. I was shocked. The color looked better. They look just better.
Yeah, the G9, it takes great photos out of camera. The GH5 can also take really good photos. You probably will want to do a bit more like color correction and that sort of thing.
Now, just so you know, on this test, where we did the G9 and the EOS R, we didn't color correct. We did not use raw pictures. We just strictly shot JPEGs out of camera. And we did white balance both, but the white balance actually on the Canon, in this particular case, looked just as good on auto white balance. We kept it there. So I'd say on the whole, they're both excellent cameras. It just depends what line you like, what you're looking for. Harold's right. You'll probably get better video quality in general on the G9. But the video quality on the EOS R is very good. I'd say it's as good as just about anything else we've ever shot with.
The other thing about the video, though, on the EOS R is I believe it only goes up to, for 4K, I think it only goes up to 30 frames per second, and for 1080, I think it only goes up to 60. Whereas I'm actually I haven't done that much slow-mo with the G9, but I know for the GH5, for example, it goes on 1080. I think it goes up to 180 frames per second, so that's a pretty significant slow-mo.
And 60 on
60 on 4K, which
and it can do that in camera.
Yeah, and if you're doing a video at say 25 frames per second or something, then that gives you even on 4K a good amount of room for slow-mo.
So 2 very good cameras in summary. They're great cameras. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. Frankly, they're both strong cameras. It's going to really come down to preferences, budget, what you use them for, and how you feel about each one. I tell you, both of them in the hand feel great. I can't wait to get the battery grip. And by the way, just a quick comment. What is with this battery grip charging now of $300 to $500 for a lousy battery grip? That is absolutely ridiculous, especially since 2 years ago all battery grips were $150. Even the Canons were $150, less than $200. Now the EOS is almost $500 for a battery grip, which has no smarts, nothing smarter than any other grip out there. Hello, are we missing something here? And this one's like $300, and this is for a Panasonic. That's a little exorbitant. There are third-party battery grips. Some are very good. Some are kind of crummy, so be careful what you buy.
I think the problem is they finally caught on. They know we need the things. So
I know. So now they're charging more because it's essential. I think Fuji started this trend, and it was really repulsive to get on like a Fuji X-T2, which we also have out for repair right now. That's the only camera we've ever had to repair. So, which is sort of irritating, but
none of our
especially
doing
since
either.
it's almost brand new, it barely got used.
Yeah.
We've never had any repairs except for one fall once on a camera, and that was my fault. It flew out of a bag that I thought was locked or closed.
Check your zippers, everyone.
Check the zippers. Don't let that zipper go down. Keep that fly closed. Anyway.
Yeah.
Seriously, the XT2 battery grip you need in order to get more than 5 minutes of video. So how cool is that? I think you get 30 with it. Still, so you have to pay 300 something more bucks for the camera to get more battery life and a grip that can shoot video longer. That's tacky. That's bad design. But anyway, I digress. Of these 2 cameras, both are good. You're not going to be a loser on either one. They have their limitations. They have their strong points. They both got great color science. You can't beat Canon color science anywhere. Panasonic does a really good job of coming close, if not equal. Very good job. Harold, any closing remark?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much where we're at with this camera. With the EOS R, I think, we'll have more on it as we use it and see what it can do. And I'm sure, there'll be a lot more that you'll be able to hear about it, as well as some of the stuff that they've promised for it comes out, like the they're coming out with an adapter ring that has a slot for an ND filter and that sort of thing.
Yeah, now keep in mind, this is first generation, full frame, mirrorless for Canon. If they quit crippling these things and get rid of some stupid features that are worthless, the next generation will probably be very, very good. We'll see.
We shall see.
We shall see. For Tech Down Over, I'm Rick Zanati with Harold Muliati. We will see you guys tomorrow on another show. We've got Pete Fox coming on from Westcott. We love Westcott. Great company. Have a good one, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
We'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.